Continue with his evidence at the Commission of Inquiry into State capture in Johannesburg today. Booysen is giving evidence into how law enforcement agencies were allegedly captured in KZN. He is expected to give more evidence implicating other high-ranking officials in SABC. Let's get more now from our reporter Mangoba Mtunu, who's live for us in Parktown, Johannesburg. Hey Mangoba, thank you very much as always for joining us. Just paint this picture that the former KZN Hawks boss put out there yesterday with regards to law enforcement agencies.
Well, Blaine, we certainly heard of a picture really of the deep rot within the South African Police Service and how those at the helm of the police service in KwaZulu-Natal had gone to lengths to try and protect certain individuals who were being investigated with regards to tender fraud issues relating to the 2010 World Cup. Of course, this in reference to a Durban businessman, Thoshen Pande, who was said to have had close links with top ANC officials. And he testified about how the then provincial commissioner Mamunyane Ngobeni had tried to block that particular investigation, of course going to lengths as to instruct him to stop that particular investigation. And also he spoke of two calls that Mamunyane Ngobeni had made to him, as well as a meeting that was set up between him, which also included the businessman Thoshen Pande, who was present at that meeting together with his lawyer, who in essence had also tried to meddle in that investigation. And of course saying that the meddling didn't stop there and the interference didn't stop there. Thoshen Pande went on to try and also bribe a police officer from the Cato Manor police station to steal some of those dockets from the storage where they were kept. And also he went to lengths to even try and bribe Booysen himself, beg your pardon there, to try and bribe Booysen himself. We do know that he colluded with one of the police officers who was a senior police officer at the time, Colonel Nivan Madu, who he then offered a 2 million rand bribe to Booysen. And we know that ultimately a sting operation was then set up in which Madu was then arrested, and ultimately Thoshen Pande himself was later arrested a few weeks later. So it shows just the extent of the deep corruption within the police service. But of course, the meddling that happened at the time, not only from the police themselves, but we also heard of meddling from members of the Zuma family. We also heard of how the president's son, the former president's son, Edward Zuma, had also tried to interfere in the case, setting up a meeting with Booysen in 2010, where he tried to get him to unfreeze a 15 million rand pay that had been made to Gold Coast, a company owned by Thoshen Pande. And of course, Booysen also taking this matter up with the president, the then president, President Zuma, saying that, trying to show him how his son was trying to meddle in this case. And of course, what he says is that the president at that time had simply said that he simply did not want to get himself involved in matters involving his son. So it shows a deep extent and the lens in which those police officials went to try and protect the interest of some of those individuals, and really the rot that also McBride alluded to when he gave his testimony here, and the system of patronage that he said was deeply embedded in the South African Police Service.
Yeah, as you rightly point out, his evidence relates to events that happened from about 2010. He spoke about this alleged irregularities in the acquisition of certain services. He also said that he received that call, as you spoke about, from the then KZN Provincial Commissioner Ngobeni to stop this investigation. And if I can remember correctly, he did point out that he thought that this request to stop this investigation was, unlawful. At the very beginning, Mangoba, of his testimony, he said that it was his view that certain elements within law enforcement and the NPA have been captured. And he went on to say in some instances by politicians who were directly involved. Those who he's mentioned so far, what's your understanding in terms of the implicated person? Have they expressed any desire to cross-examine him?
Well, at this stage, Blaine, we haven't heard of any application that has been made so far. You'll recall that there are processes that need to be followed if one is implicated. And of course, based on the evidence, as well as the statement that is presented here at the Commission, the Secretariat of the Commission will then write or make a request in writing to that person who's implicated to, if they wish to, make an application to cross-examine the witness. So at this stage, we haven't heard of any of those applications that have been made made on behalf of Ngobeni herself, whether or not she'll want to come and cross-examine. So at this stage, it's not clear whether she'll want to come and cross-examine Booysen with reference to this evidence that he's given here at this particular commission that has directly implicated her.
Yeah, just to remind our viewers that implicated persons, according to Rule 3.3, have about 2 weeks to actually write to the chair, the commission chair, and, lay out a plan in terms of whether they want to cross-examine and also come to the commission and listen in to the testimony that actually implicates them. My understanding, Mangoba, is that the commission will take a break after today for the Easter holidays. When would they resume?
Well, Ben, what we do know is that they will resume again on the 2nd of May, and we expect today's proceedings to be fairly short, 2 hours. That's what we've been told today. So it starts at 10, and by 12 o'clock, we should have wrapped up as people are preparing, of course, to go onto that long Easter vacation. But, of course, we're expecting McBride, I beg your pardon, they have played. We're expecting Booysen to continue to give testimony about how some more senior officials within the police were also implicated. And more of a testimony also that we're expecting to hear is about the NPA's involvement in trying to frustrate some of those investigations. But I don't know how far we'll get today since it's 2 hours, but we expect proceedings to begin at 10 o'clock this morning.
All right, 10 o'clock it is. The SABC's Mangoba Mtunu live for us in Parktown, Johannesburg. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. In other news,